If you are aspiring to satisfy your customers, then you are aspiring to mediocrity. Because studies have shown that satisfied customers defect all the time. If you want to derive competitive advantage and financial advantage from the experience you deliver, you must not satisfy your customers, you must impress them. Because many forms of competitive differentiation are fleeting. But a great customer experience and the internal ecosystem that supports it can be very difficult for competitors to replicate, yet accords tremendous strategic and economic value to an organization. These companies sure know how to do it well. These are all firms that are renowned for the quality of the customer experience they provide and the ensuing loyalty that it engenders. And you just got to ask yourself, how the heck do they do it day in and day out? And my answer to you is very simple. The impression that these companies leave on their customers does not happen by accident. It is very intentional. It is very deliberate. I would argue it is the consequence of them all dipping into some time-tested principles for shaping interactions with customers. And today I'm actually going to pull the curtain back on some of those principles for you. And I use this example because very often companies communicate with customers in ambiguous and contradictory ways. Yes, it's a voicemail tree, but it's not any voicemail tree, it's your voicemail tree. I received this in the mail. I think they're pushing it to your desktop. It has very tiny print and long instructions on how to set up the voicemail. It comes with this menu that shows how you can do things like send a voicemail, change your out-of-office greeting, all that stuff. Now, folks, I'm just saying, this doesn't scream simplicity to me. If anything, it actually gives me cognitive and physical effort. And let me explain how. You know, I don't know if it's the line of business I'm in, but every time I look at this tree, it gives me cognitive effort, and here's why. Do you notice anything strange about the top-level menu? There's no 3. There's also no 8. What do you guys have against the numbers 3 and 8? What did they ever do to you? For the longest time, I was afraid to hit 3 and 8. But then one day I thought, wait, maybe you hit 3 and you get VIP service. It was only after I decided to include this example in this program that I gained the courage to hit 3 and 8. You know what happens when you do? Absolutely nothing. I mean, strangest thing. So this is the placard outside the second-floor elevator bay of a hotel I stayed at in New Jersey. I was with a client all day. It was a long day. I checked in after dinner. I go to the front desk. I check in. I go upstairs to the second floor. I get out, and I look at this sign to find my room. Now, here's the catch. The front desk assigned me room 225. Now, folks, seriously, I stood there for 5 minutes in that elevator bay because I was convinced that I was just tired and I was misreading the sign. And I was just too sheepish to go back down to the front desk and tell them that they gave me a room that doesn't exist. Second, remember to serve your staff and your colleagues as you'd want them to serve your customers. Every day, in every interaction in the workplace, you have a chance to show people what right looks like. Think of the signal it sends when you go out and spend a half day with these folks. The signal it sends to them is that of all the things you could have chosen to do that day, all the ways you could have spent your time, you decided the most valuable use of your time was spending 3 or 4 hours with someone on the front line to understand their lot in life, the obstacles they face, and to help them to do the job better. So let's face it, Amazon is a company that has engineered an entire business around making it effortless to find what you need to buy and to buy it. Perhaps best epitomized by their patented one-click purchase button, which, let's face it, is a dangerous tool in the wrong hands. As I can attest, looking at the charges my family racks up on Amazon, dangerous tool. I only realized how effortless it was to buy something from Amazon when my wife and I discovered that our son, who was 3 years old at the time, had made an Amazon purchase. I kid you not, I come home from work one day, there's an Amazon package at the front door, I bring it in, I open it up, and it is PC software for drafting new home blueprints. And I go to my wife, and I say to her, are you not telling me something? Are we building a new house? And she says, no, I didn't order that. And so she thinks back, and earlier in the week, sure enough, she was logged into Amazon. She was looking for something. The phone rang. She went into the other room to get it. And she surmised our 3-year-old crawled up on her desk, was pointing and clicking, and bought this PC software. It was that effortless. But here's the kicker. It was also effortless for me to return it. Because experiences that are laced with emotion are far more memorable than those that are not. And you know this if you think back to your own experiences, your own memories. You find the people who were alive for 9/11 or JFK's assassination, they tend to remember exactly where they were and what they were doing when they heard that news. Why? Because it was a very emotional event for most people, and that emotion sears the memory into their head. So emotion sort of serves as a memory cue, but it also works for intensely positive memories. So you find people usually have vivid memories of, the day they got married, the day their first child was born, the day they won the big sports championship. And the reason this is relevant to today's discussion is because if you're trying to derive competitive advantage from your customer experience, what that's really about is making sure people remember their interaction with you over all other providers. So you would be remiss if you didn't leverage the power of emotion as a memory cue to cement the memory of that interaction in people's heads. With every customer interaction, your business wins or loses share. With every interaction, you win or lose share. And I'm talking about mind share, followed by wallet share, followed by market share. At every touch point, you have an opportunity either to strengthen customer loyalty or erode it. And great companies, loyalty leaders, they recognize this opportunity and they capitalize on it. They capitalize on it by actively managing the end-to-end customer experience. They capitalize on it by seeking not just to satisfy their customers, but to impress them. And they impress them not just by focusing on the mechanics, the logistics of the experience, grinding out the goo, manufacturing the widgets. Those are all critically important, mind you, but they place equal emphasis on figuring out how to cement the connection between company and customer from a cognitive perspective and from an emotional perspective. But here is my counsel to you. My counsel to you is that any day of the week, you and your colleagues can embrace the same approach, focusing not just on the mechanics of the experience you're delivering, but also thinking in terms of how do I make my customer feel special? It makes all the difference.